Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is Friday, the 18th of July, 2025. These are the stories that we'll try to understand, decipher, and share with you during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the heavy monsoon rains and how they have impacted Pakistan, specifically Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The other provinces are also impacted, but it's mostly Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa who are impacted. The nallas are on a high level, the rivers are on a high level, and so are the dams. And of course, the casualties have been there, and the NDMA and the PDMAs have been, issuing warning after warning to the people. But some of them are hearing the warning, some of them are not paying heed to the warning. So we need to be extremely careful under these situations. We'll highlight different aspects of this current monsoon rains, the impact that they've had on the people, as well as climate change and how Pakistan has been at the brunt of it, being one of the most vulnerable countries as per a recent German report. This is going to be our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the genocide that continues to happen in Gaza after so many hundreds of days, despite the fact that some kind of a glimmer of hope remains in the form of ceasefire talks. But whether it be Syria, whether it be Gaza, the Israeli brutalities continue unabated, and the people continue to be killed at the hands of the Israelis. This and different aspects around it will be discussed, and how the Israelis are trying to convert one part of Gaza into a concentration camp. This is not me who's saying this, this is a former Israeli Prime Minister who's saying that. Our third story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns sexual predators in the Indian Army, with the many examples that are rampant, but one example in particular that has caught the eye recently is that of Colonel Amit Kumar, who has revealed the secret of his wife's rape at the hands of senior officers. It's heinous, it's despicable, but this is what's happening in India. Next story concerns Ukraine, that has appointed a new Prime Minister. The previous Prime Minister is no longer part of it, and now Yulia Sviridenko, who was a minister in previously, has become the Prime Minister of Ukraine. And of course, a lot goes to her credit as well, including the recent thaw in relations with the US. Next, we are going to talk about Donald Trump, who has been diagnosed, as per his physicians, with chronic venous insufficiency. We'll be highlighting what that is all about. And the last story, ladies and gentlemen, today concerns Meta and Mark Zuckerberg, him and his other partners have settled $8 billion US dollars, ladies and gentlemen, lawsuit over Facebook users' privacy. This is the lineup for today. Let's begin our first segment, the climate and the monsoon rains, and we've got two guests with us in the studios to discuss that in detail. They are none other than Raja Asim Zeeb. He is an ESG and sustainability specialist. Thank you very much to have joined us. Our second guest is Mohammad Farooq Dar Saab, Deputy Director of the Met Department. Both of my guests are first timers here, so we wish them all the very best for this interaction. We'll begin with you, Raja Asim Zeeb Saab. When you look at what is happening as far as the monsoons are concerned, this kind of reminds us more or less of what happened in 2022 as well. And as I was discussing with one of my guests, he says this comes in spells after every 3 to 4 years. So the last time was 2022, and now we are seeing exactly this in 2025. How is climate change contributing to this increased severity and unpredictability of monsoon rains and glacier melting?
Well, thank you so much for considering me. Climate change is playing a very critical role in intensifying monsoon rainfall, especially in the Pakistan. As you know, the global temperature is rising, and it allows atmosphere to hold more moisture, result in a very concentrated rainfall all across the Pakistan. And the previous when we see the statistics of previous 3 to 4 years, we see that the Pakistan has faced a very short and very intense rainfall, often led to the infrastructure damage and the floods, and all the floods of 2022 marks the history. Actually, it's around 1,700 casualties, and the power infrastructure damages, and all other things, all other uncertainties we have faced. Now, along with this, the glacial melting in northern areas, in Chitrali, in Gilgit-Baltistan, in some areas in Int'l KPK. So the globes and all other related uncertainties, we will be the responsible for this unpredictability and other
unpredictability as
yes,
far as
yes.
this current season is concerned. And you know, we are just in the pre-monsoon. The monsoon season has really not started as of
Yes,
yet.
exactly.
And this is the situation right now as far as the pre-monsoon season is concerned. I don't know what's going to happen as far as the monsoon season is concerned, but what are the predictions?
Additionally, I want to mention a very important aspect here is the rise in the temperature of the sea surface of the Indian and Arabic Ocean, which actually enhance the wind to bring more moisture to the subcontinent, which can lead to the more uncertainties we have to face. And after all these uncertainties, very short and very quick uncertainties, we have faced a lot of infrastructure damages, which led to the economical collapse. And you know, our economy is totally rely on the agriculture, and our agriculture is waiting for this monsoon. And when the monsoon will become more devastating for our agriculture, then we are quite stepped down in terms of development and in terms of specifically sustainable development. So we need a very comprehensive and comprehensive policy framework and implementation strategies to combat these uncertainties and jump into the more reliable and more sustainable future.
I mean, the more reliable and more sustainable future is the need of the day, and this is for which the world needs to work together. In unison, we've got so many COPs that have been happening, so many meetings of different world leaders, and the fact is that despite the pledges that are made, no proper implementation as far as that is concerned really happens, specifically also when it comes to Pakistan, because Pakistan has pleaded for its case in the last two COPs as well.
Yeah, exactly.
For Dar Saab, coming to you, what are the predictions as far as coming days are concerned? Because we've seen the rains, for example, let me give you some predictions. Lahore has received 207 millimeters more rain than the June and July, both months together. The number of casualties keeps on increasing because of that, and heavy monsoon rains we've seen has also created havoc in Rawalpindi. We saw the visuals as well, that those were rampant on social media as well. Punjab, followed by Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, are the two major provinces that seem to be on the brunt of that. What should we expect in the next days?
Thank you very much. We are expecting more rain in coming days during next 24 to 48 hours. We are expecting light to moderate rainfall with isolated heavy rainfall in province of Sindh, especially in the southeastern Sindh and the upper Sindh, and some parts of southern Punjab, especially in the Bahawalpur and Multan and Sahiwal and Khanewal districts. But after the 24 to 48 hours, we are predicting more rainfall in the upper areas of the northeast Punjab, especially Lahore, Gujranwala, Sialkot, Narwal, Mandi Bahauddin, especially in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, and parts of Kashmir and upper parts of the Gilgit-Baltistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area. That intensity is this is the fourth spell of the monsoon, and
there are 7 spells of the monsoon, if I'm not wrong, this year.
You are right. So these areas will get the more rainfall and with scattered heavy fall. That scattered heavy fall will contribute in the form of the low-lying areas will be underwater, and the flash flooding in the northeast Punjab in nulas of Dek, Ek and such as in Rawalpindi, and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan as well.
All right, yes. But you know, is this something that is unusual? As I was saying in the beginning, that this one of our guests was saying that this is a spell that repeats itself after every 3 to 4 years. Is this something that we are going to see every 3 to 4 years?
Yes, of course. We have a monsoon. We have two major weather system. One is the monsoon, and one is that is called the southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. When they both combine in the upper parts of the country, giving heavy rainfall, such the interaction of the monsoon currents and the westerly waves that contribute to the significant rainfall in the upper areas. This spell was unusually unprecedented in the upper parts of the country, especially the focus was the upper parts of the Punjab and some areas of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Kashmir.
Yes. What about the different kinds of floods that we are hearing, whether it be medium level flood or low level flood? Low level flood, Chashma Barrage, the Bila Dam, medium level flood at Kalabagh Dam with steady water inflow. Can this be disrupted if the rain continues to, increase the situation in the rivers and the dams?
Because this rainfall system was confined to the only the Punjab areas, as well the catchment areas of the river Indus, river Jhelum, river Chenab and Ravi, they get less rainfall. That's why at the right now our Indus river and Chenab river, Jhelum river are flowing at the normal levels.
All right. All right. Coming to you, Raja Asim Saith, this flood situation in major in Punjab, which areas do you feel are going to be more at risk in the coming days? As Dar Sahab has said that this is there are going to be more spells in the coming weeks as well. What should the people do? What precautions do they need to take?
Well, the people living in the communities living alongside the river and any water system, they are on the risk, and they need to be the risk need to be identified by the department and the local communities as well, because you cannot develop any kind of any single thing without the mutual cooperation from the civil society and the government as well. So the civil society and there are a lot of active participation are in the recent uncertainties. Even so some are led by the Pakistan military, some are led by the National Disaster Management Authority, and some are led by some civil society organization. They are involved in the evacuation, they are involved in the relief, they are involved in the rescuing, and they have installed some partial shelter for the cut-off communities, and some are linking the communication that has been cut off due to this flooding system. So the awareness we need to bring to the local communities is that they need to be aware and they need to be well known with these kind of uncertainties. There are a lot of people in the remote areas and in the internal Punjab, I swear in internal Sindh, they have no idea about what kind of the flooding is, what kind of the monsoon is, what kind of the glacial melting is, what kind of the climate uncertainties is. So
they need to be made more aware. I think
yes.
that is also extremely important.
Yes.
So that they are more cognizant of what needs to be done whenever
yes.
something unfortunate happens.
Exactly.
Dar Sahab, when we see that water level in Mangla Dam is at 47, in Tarbela it's 79%. Then in the Indian dams of Sutlej, Beas and Ravi are at 36%. Should we be concerned about whether these could overflow in the coming days if rains continue to hamper Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa?
Sir, in recent in the next 10 to 14 days, we are expecting more rain, but we are quite satisfied right now that these dams, such rains are not occurring in these areas. Only the focus is the Punjab area and the lower parts of the Gilgit-Baltistan and in Upper KP.
All right.
So there is very less chances of any heavy rainfall unless any system is moving from the Bay of Bengal and reaching to the upper catchment areas. That is very dangerous if such a situation develop in the future. But right now in 10 to 15 days, there is no such a situation.
Okay.
That.
So no danger situation is expected in the next 10 to 15 days, but let's hope for the best, but also take the necessary precautions, because as the NDMA has been saying, the PDMA has been saying that we need to take the necessary precautions. Always call the MA or the PDMA helplines, do not touch electric wires or poles, and avoid unnecessary travel. More after the following break. Welcome back, and we're discussing the recent situation emanating because of the rains in the pre-monsoon season across Pakistan, specifically in Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but of course other provinces are also not left behind. Raja Asim Saith, I'd like to understand how important is a basic civic sense when it comes to taking the necessary precautions under the current situations. We've seen, despite the fact that people have seen what happened in Suaz recently, people have seen what happened in 2022, they still are willing to take the risks even if this implies the loss of lives.
Actually, during these uncertainties, we have exposed, and we have our infrastructure development is actually totally exposed. Our commitment is exposed because we are not delivering, or we are not committing, or we are not engaging to the meaningful things or to the productive things with the society or the civil society. So by the mean, you have identified 3 to 4 uncertainties in the Swat and all other related areas, nearby areas. They happen due to the miscommunication or the communication linkage, because the public office holding authorities are not particularly involved and not much interested in kind of the rehabilitation or the facilitation process. Due to this failure, we face such kind of the uncertainties, and it's actually a huge risk. So our risk management and all of the related thing is totally based on this whole mechanism and whole process. We actually need, I already mentioned, very precise and very meaningful implementation strategies to combat these uncertainties.
If we need a meaningful implementation strategy,
yes, and law enforcement as well.
Of course, that includes all the agencies that are involved, the NDMA, the PDMAs,
yes,
the local governments as well,
yes,
and also those hotel owners and the restaurant owners and those who have embankments on the river beds. Can we make laws stricter, in your point of view, Darsa, so that we don't a repeat of what we've seen in Swat, a repeat of what we've seen in 2022?
Yes, sir. Of course, we have to implement our policies, our instructions, our rule of law. Unless the rule of law is not implemented, the such type of incident cannot be ruled out.
But finally, before we leave you guys from this segment, I'd like to understand, should we be afraid? A lot of people are asking this question to me and to others, whether this is a repeat of 2022. Is the whole river bed situation or the dam situation going to be a repeat of what we saw in 2022, or is it a milder version of it?
No, it's a milder version of it, because in 2022 we got unprecedented rainfall in the lower half of the country, especially in the Sindh, in the eastern parts of the Balochistan and southern Punjab district of Dera Ghazi Khan and Rajanpur. But right now the position is totally different. Our no-any system is developing in the Bay of Bengal. When the system is developing in the Bay of Bengal, that is moving toward the westward and affecting the other parts, no such a situation is foreseen in the future.
All right.
But we should be careful, and we should keep on our concentration over because there is a monsoon season.
And the monsoon season hasn't really started, but we need to be very careful. I think, ladies and gentlemen, the key word is vigilance. The key word is being careful, because until and unless we are not vigilant, we don't take care. If we continue to do whatever we're doing, if we go over the weekends in the northern areas and don't take the necessary precautions on when we go to the riverbed, then we know there could hope that doesn't happen, but there could be a repeat of different incidents that have happened in the past, and that is what we need to be extremely vigilant about. The pre-monsoon season is here, but the monsoon season is about to arrive. Be very careful. Be very careful. The government is there. The army is there. They are trying to do their best, but it's also somewhere, somehow, our responsibility as citizens as well to help ourselves. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, today concerns the genocide in Gaza. But before that, I'd like to thank both of my guests, Raja Asim Zaib, thank you very much, and of course Muhammad Farooq Darsa, to have come all the way to the studios to inform our public, our viewers, of what is happening as far as the pre-monsoon season is concerned. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the situation in Gaza. Hundreds of days have passed, and still the brutalities, the crimes against humanity, the war crimes, the genocide continues. Israel now refuses to renew visas for the heads of 3 United Nations agencies working on Gaza, the OCHA, the OHCHR, and the UNRWA, as hunger and lack of aid worsens for Palestinians. And this has been confirmed by the spokesperson of the United Nations. When it comes to Syria, the fighting between Druze fighters and Bedouin tribes in the southern Syrian province of Suwaida continues after Syrian troops pulled out of the area. When it comes to the Gaza Strip, an Israeli attack has hit tents sheltering displaced Palestinians in Al-Mawasi, started a major fire, killed at least 5 people, including infants. The death toll in Gaza continues to mount. At least 26 people have been killed in the last few hours alone, including 6 aid seekers. And we've been talking about the aid seekers for quite some time. The GHF IDF and how they go to the aid and then they are targeted by the Israeli forces. The OHCHR says since January there have been 757 settler attacks on Palestinians or their properties, which is a 13% increase in the same period last year. At least 964 Palestinians have been killed since the 7th of October 2023 in the occupied West Bank alone. Condemnation also is growing as far as the Israeli methodology, genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity is concerned. And this also happened because the Israeli forces targeted the only Catholic church that is present in Gaza, that killed 3 people and injured at least. I mean, there's a whole list of things that are going on that are against the basic norms of humanity and human rights, and still Israel continues to do that without batting an eyelid. We have been joined by 2 guests in this very segment. Let me introduce them to you one by one. In the studios, we've been joined by Saith, Usama, Chitrali, who is an international relations analyst. Thank you very much, Chitrali Sahab, to have joined us online. We've been joined by Osama Muhammad Nazzal, who is a Palestinian journalist, joins us from Jenin. Osama, brother, thank you very much to have joined us. I'll begin with you, Osama. Well, what is going to happen as far as these so-called ceasefire talks that are happening is concerned? Should we have any kind of hope when this is concerned? Because every day, every hour, more and more Palestinians are being killed.
Yeah, this is the problem that we have been hearing about these negotiations and these meetings in different capitals since the first month of the Israeli war on the Palestinians in Gaza. But every time we believe that there's going to be a solution, the Israeli occupation government fails that solution and resume its war on the Palestinians. I think what's happening now on the ground reflects the fact that these negotiations are not fruitful and we should not expect much from them, as Israel is pressing ahead, cantonizing the Gaza Strip and creating new zones, trying to push all the Palestinians from the northern parts of Gaza into the concentration camp on the ruins of Rafah in the south. So really, I don't see that these negotiations are going to succeed as long as Israel is trying to impose and dictate its conditions, the conditions of the Palestinian capitulation, and the conditions that enable Israel to exercise its occupation, colonization of Gaza the way it pleases.
Osama, brother, I'd also like to understand, why does Israel have the gall to refuse visas for the heads of 3 United Nations organizations that are very important under the current circumstances, UNRWA, OCHA and OHCHR? Because these are the institutions that are concerned with helping those Palestinians that are in lack of food, health and other facilities. Is this also part of their genocidal attempts to kill as many Palestinians, maim as many Palestinians as possible?
Yeah, with regard to the Israeli intention and the Israeli appetite for killing as many Palestinians as possible, whether in Gaza or the West Bank, any part, regardless where the Palestinians exist, this is not related to the activities of the organizations of the United Nations, because Israel does not care, does not pay any attention to the United Nations, and it undermined and reprimanded the United Nations. But the main aim is to isolate the Palestinian people more from the international sphere and from the whole world. And when Israel started its measures against the UNRWA, the special rapporteur on the human rights in the occupied Palestinian territory, Albanese, warned that UNRWA is going to be the starter, as Israel is going to continue to ban all the United Nations organizations, regardless of the activities or the services they provide for the Palestinians. So this is what Israel is aimed to do, to isolate Palestine and the Palestinians from the world, keep Palestine divided into small pockets, and not allow the Palestinians any time to exercise their right of self-determination. I think Israel is doing that because when it attacked the UNRWA, And when it described the UNRWA as a terrorist organization, and when it described the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres, as non grata persona, and nobody cared, nobody asked to impose any form of sanctions on Israel because of its attack on the United Nations, Israel feels free to do whatever it wants.
It's free to do whatever it wants, and we have seen so many examples since October 2023 that it seems to me as something out of a dream, a nightmare that we are seeing, but unfortunately it is the truth that we are witnessing every passing hour, every passing day. Chitrali Sahab, coming to you, what are the implications? Israel's siege and restrictions on aid. UNRWA warns that 1 child in every 10 children in Gaza are now malnourished, which is of course moving towards a huge risk as far as famine in the area is concerned.
Alright, when we see the different aspects right now, I think we need some new term besides genocide to address this situation. Which
crimes against humanity, war
crimes against,
crimes.
I will say that even the Holocaust, they refer for their anti-Semitism, but eventually what they are doing right now, they at least got a shelter from the many Muslim people and everything, but yet I see there is no humanity lies in even the civilization who are living around this Palestine don't have any humanitarian approach. Even when you go to the social media and reach out to those people, the public of Israel, how they are reacting and how they are making a fun of the people starving right now, facing this genocide situation. So I think humanity doesn't lie in that region right now, but also it is questioning about the humanitarian grounds or the role of the IGOs linking to even United Nations or any other platform, what they are actually doing, how one country is challenging a big number of the countries and big stakeholders of the world right now and decision makers that even they cannot access to the food.
I mean, this is the least of the, the food, water, medicine, basic health supplies, basic supplies. This is even given to the enemy in cases of war. But this is not the enemy. These are innocent women, children and men who are being tortured and killed left, right and center. If they are not being killed, then they are being put in jails and tortured. Usama, brother, there's a very thing that is very concerning for me, but I'd like your point of view as well. Israel is building what we are seeing as a concentration camp for Palestinians on the ruins of Rafah in southern Gaza. If I remember well, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert had also said the same, and he had said that I am sorry, quote unquote, as far as the reports for the concentration camp is concerned. It is so strange, brother Osama, that a race, a community that itself says was a victim of a Holocaust after the Second World War and was victim of concentration camps, is itself building those concentration camps in Gaza.
Really, what Israel intends to do in Gaza is much worse than the ghettos in Europe decades ago, because what Israel is planning to do is that to bring all the Palestinians in Gaza together and put them in a very, very small area. It is like a cage. Imagine it is like a cage. And to starve them and to control even the air of that concentration camp or ghetto and leave the Palestinians with no other option but one option, which is death or departure. And departure, of course, we know that Rafah border is closed because Egypt refuses to open that as it doesn't want the Palestinians to be refugees there. And of course, this is a placed position by Egypt because Gaza must not be emptied of its indigenous people, the Palestinians. But this is the Israeli scheme to bring all the Palestinians in this concentration camp. And ironically, Israel calls it the humanitarian city. In this concentration camp, the Palestinians will have no options on the table. But the situation is even now very, very bad, my brother Omar, as Gaza is not a country now. Gaza, it is a slaughterhouse. That is the description that fits Gaza, as every day we are talking about 100 people killed and hundreds injured. talking about people who are starving to death. You know, people are getting unconscious these days in the streets of Gaza because of hunger, and Israel doesn't allow any kind of food into that small Palestinian war-torn enclave. No medication. The people who got their limbs amputated, they have no medication, no treatment, no care, as Gaza is now the wasteland. It is really the wasteland.
Now it
So
is
what
being
Israel is
converted into a
doing,
concentration camp.
yeah, it is much more than what happened in Europe in the 30s and the 40s of the past century.
Thank you very much, Brother Osama. That was Osama Mohammed Nazzal joining us from Jenin. And of course, the latest gruesome details about what is happening in Palestine and perpetrated by the Israelis on the innocent people. Our next story concerns India, and it doesn't come as a surprise, but of course talks about the sexual predators that are present in the Indian Army. One of the colonels in the Indian Army, Amit Kumar, reveals a heinous secret of his wife's rape at the hand of senior officers. Before we continue, I'd just like to share with you a little bit of sort as far as this woman's plea is concerned. Please watch it and then we'll come back with our questions.
कुछ नहीं होगा बताओ क्या हुआ फिर से
हॉस्पिटल में फिर रूम में बैठी थी ये सारे ऑफिसर्स आ गए
कौन कौन आया था
ब्रिगेडियर वन कमांडर
और
कर्नल अमरजोत कॉर्प सीओ 40 सिग्नल रेजिमेंट आरटीडी एंड वन मोर सीओ दे लॉक्ड मी इन द रूम दे स्नैच्ड माय मोबाइल
ना नु सब आएंगे रुक जाओ ये जो भी ऑफिसर सब आएगा These they can't do this. These jokers can't do this.
I don't want to repeat what the man said, but this is such a strange situation. And the fact is that New Delhi has already been called the rape capital of the world. And to add to that now, even the military officials are involved in heinous rape of the wives of their own colleagues. Saith Usama Chitrali continues to join us for this segment as well. What does Colonel Amit Kumar's revelation tell us about this state of internal accountability and justice within the Indian Army?
I think somewhere it is really hurting right now, the video, like every human could feel it. But eventually it's not something new for us to hear from the India like this. You will be hearing about the gang rapes a lot, like even the big cases which have been happened, as you have stated, that Delhi is the capital of the raping, and even it's one of the countries which is not even safe for the woman to go out in public or at night alone. So in that concern, I think what has happened right now and the reaction of India yet to what we see and what's the response is coming is really inhuman, irrational, and the government response towards these officers. Yet you see the one person who is like serving a country and like dedicating his life, his family is not secure. See, that's he is like striving for all the security for the borders and like he's living out his home. His family is not safe. How it is going to help out this country somewhere, and how it's the response? So I think
because
India,
the army officers or from the armed forces are supposed to be defenders of the nation.
yes,
When they can't even defend or do the opposite when it comes to the wives of their own colleagues, what kind of image are you showing not only to the world but also to your own citizens?
and even I think this what you are even raising the question on your culture, even how the people who are the defenders and upon which the public trust that they will defend us, if like their own colleagues are not safe from their simulation. So how the one, like we see that it really raises out a question, how the public is safe from them then. So I think
if the wives of their own colleagues are
and
not
I think
safe, what can
one
they
more
really
thing,
say
and
about
one more
these?
thing I would like to say that what we have experienced and what we are seeing right now, India is like going beyond the humanity, like right now for
No,
them
there is no
economy.
humanity.
Yes, I think
is a very sweet word.
right now economy, even they are about the all right now going to the pornography industry. Even you go out, you will see the India is doing like contributing a lot in that side also.
Anyways, what
And
I'd
even
like to
humiliation.
understand, Chitrali Sahab, is why is Narendra Modi government silent on this?
I don't think Narendra, what Narendra Modi is been happening right now, it's around in the many clutches right now. Recently, the Bunyano Marsus is still something which is not giving him a wake up or a restful sleep yet. But this issue, I think so, yet it is the test. And I think it will be a test of the Modi's morality and ethics, which he talks about.
But you talk of this is being a test for Modi's morality, but what are going to be the implications of these revelations for India's global image?
Definitely, I think even if we see there is what about the public and something such thing happens, but if the organization, if the organizational colleague is not safe from the seniors, how they are going to react now? Are they going to ready to go to the borders? Like leaving their families, or they are going to take the families on the border right
even
now.
Our families are not safe from our colleagues. So what? How can we leave?
And
them?
even you see one thing, you line in a hospital, it was a public place where it happened.
Exactly.
So how they are going
it
to
didn't happen in a home?
Yeah, well, and it's and you know the army colonies more are surrounded. So what's going to happen over there?
How should the international human rights organizations, we've got so many, react now to the United Nations as well? Will they react?
I think the same way the Bollywood stars have taken that candle walks and everything, I think they should do for this woman too, the way they did for the others. And I think this is every public of the India should, and I think even we condemn as a Pakistani, we condemn this inhuman act.
Of course.
And I think our narrative should also go on, and the UN women should play a role in it, and the independent accountability should be led for this.
Independent accountability or accountability, I think, is the key word. This is what needs to happen within the army and within the nation. There are so many things that India needs to, do accountability on. But when India is not even accountable on what it does and how it, demeans other nations such as Pakistan, such as Bangladesh, I mean, I don't know how it will be able to do self-accountability as far as its own people is concerned. There's so much that is happening in India, and so much of that is negative. Definitely. To say the least.
I totally agree.
Thank you very much, Saith Usama, Chitrali, to have joined us and to have discussed this very heinous thing. It kind of breaks the heart when we look at the women talking about this, when we know that this is not the only example. These are examples that come out, but there are so many examples that don't come out in the open because people are afraid.
I think India is going through a chaos of a moral degradation right now. Even you see the what they are doing with the minorities right now, how the government is even treating and how it is motivating the public. Right now, this concept, I think India has to focus on its moral and ethical grounds in their public, and I think they have to re-educate and redefine everything.
Well, that is another thing altogether. Where they'll focus, well, they re-educate is really something that we don't see happening in the near future. Anyways, thank you very much, Chitrali Sahab, to have joined us. Stay with us for the last 4-5 minutes while we finish with three stories. The first concerns Ukraine. That has appointed a new prime minister in a major government reshuffle by Ukrainian President Zelensky, and he has appointed a new prime minister, other key leaders as well. There's not just a new prime minister, there are other ministers as well in different portfolios that have been Yulia Svyridenko, who's 39 years of age, has taken over as prime minister from Denis Shamhai, who had held this post since 2020. She previously was the first deputy prime minister and the minister for economic development and trade, but she's also credited with negotiating this mineral deal between the US and Ukraine, and maybe that is why she has now been made the prime minister. The foreign minister will stay, the current foreign minister is going to stay in place, but there are other people like the outgoing justice minister who has also been named as the next ambassador to the US. Maybe this will work for the better as far as Ukraine is concerned. Our next story concerns the US, where Donald Trump, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the US President Donald Trump has been diagnosed with what doctors call chronic venous insufficiency. This is a chronic but benign conditions of the veins, and this has been revealed after US President sought medical examination for swollen legs. This was confirmed by the White House on Thursday. This is a condition where damaged leg veins fail to keep blood flowing properly, and that leads to several complications, could lead to several complications. So we wish the US President all the best, and I hope and we wish for a stable and quick recovery as far as the US President is concerned. Last story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, Meta. Everybody knows who is Mr. Zuckerberg. Him and other former directors and officers of Meta platforms have now agreed to settle claims worth $8 billion, ladies and gentlemen, $8 billion to settle a lawsuit over Facebook users' privacy. Now, we all know that there was a huge case of many of the Facebook users or Meta users who've said that their privacy had been breached, their personal information, their personal pictures had been shared with other organizations by Meta. And now, because of the huge uproar and cry that happened by the people, this lawsuit was put forward, and now Zuckerberg and his former directors have been forced to pay sum of around $8 billion to all of those who were part of that lawsuit. I think privacy is something that is extremely important. We all are on social media, but we all are on social media with the thought that the organization that is behind it, in this case Meta, will safeguard our personal interests, our personal pictures, or other information regarding our familial situation or a professional situation, and they will not share it with the organization. But this is what has happened, and that is why this lawsuit was taken over, and that is why finally people have won. And Mark Zuckerberg has been forced, along with his directors, to pay a sum of $8 billion. Ponder, food for thought for all such organizations that continue to do so. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with new story segments apparent to us, you in Pakistan. Under the current situation of the floods, kindly stay safe and take the necessary precautions, specifically if you are going to the northern areas for tourism purposes. Allah Hafiz.